My mother-in-law showed up with an emergency preparedness kit for us. "You clearly aren't responsible enough to plan for everything," she insisted. When I showed her our far more comprehensive plan, her reaction was priceless. I'm a 38-year-old guy living in Colorado Springs with my wife, Anna, and our 2 kids. My mother-in-law, let's call her Barbara, has always been a bit overbearing. She believes she's the ultimate authority on all things domestic and has a knack for making backhanded comments about our parenting and lifestyle choices. Over the years, we've learned to smile and nod, picking our battles carefully. A few weeks ago, Barbara showed up at our doorstep with a large plastic bin labeled Emergency Preparedness Kit. She insisted that we needed it because, in her words, "You clearly aren't responsible enough to plan for everything." Curious, I opened the bin to find a couple of expired canned goods, a flashlight with dead batteries, a first aid kit missing several items, some old blankets, a few bottles of water. I thanked her for her concern but assured her that we were already prepared for emergencies. She scoffed and said, "I'll believe it when I see it." Deciding it was time to put this to rest, I invited her to our basement. There, we had a fully stocked pantry with non-perishable food items to last at least 3 months, a water purification system and stored water, a comprehensive first aid kit, including medications, backup generators, and fuel emergency communication devices, solar-powered chargers, essential tools, and supplies. Barbara was speechless. She muttered something about being impressed and left shortly after. Since that day, Barbara hasn't made any comments about our preparedness. In fact, she's been unusually quiet during her visits. It's been a refreshing change. Sometimes, the best way to handle overbearing family members is to let your actions speak louder than their words. First, Barbara stayed quiet. Too quiet. No snide comments. No passive-aggressive digs. Just long stares and tight smiles. My wife, Anna, noticed it too. "She's plotting something," she whispered one night while we were folding laundry. I laughed it off. That was a mistake. 2 weeks after the emergency kit incident, we got a call from Anna's younger sister, Claire. She was crying. Apparently, Barbara told her we were endangering the children by relying on amateur prepper nonsense. She claimed our emergency supplies were unstable and that we had weapons everywhere. Claire was worried. She asked if we had gone full survivalist. I was furious. I kept calm on the phone, but inside, I was burning. That weekend, Barbara showed up again. She brought Claire with her. Claire looked uncomfortable the whole time. Barbara didn't even wait to sit down. She went straight to the point. "I want to see the basement again," she said, arms crossed. I stood there for a second. "Are you accusing us of something?" "I just want to be sure," she replied. This time I didn't hold back. I walked her and Claire to the basement and showed them everything again. I explained how the water purification worked. I showed the first aid inventory list taped to the inside of the cabinet. I even turned on the solar backup system to show it functioned. Claire seemed relieved. She said, "Okay, this actually makes sense." "But Barbara?" She looked annoyed. She tried to poke holes in everything. "Where do you store your propane? What about a bug-out vehicle? What's your evacuation route if the roads are closed?" I answered everything. She had nothing left. Then, out of nowhere, she said, "Well, I still think it's unsafe. I'm calling CPS." Anna lost it. I've never seen her snap like that before. She told Barbara to get out. She yelled at her own mother in a way that shocked everyone in the room. "Call CPS and lie about us, and you'll never see the kids again." Barbara looked stunned. Claire pulled her by the arm and they left. Now we're waiting. Barbara hasn't called CPS yet. But Anna and I are sure she's not done. She's angry. She's embarrassed. And people like her don't let things go. We've started documenting everything. Every supply. Every safety measure. Even security cameras around the house. Just in case. It's not about being scared. It's about being ready. And this time, the emergency might not come from outside. It might come from family. Should I go full legal? Should we cut her off entirely? I honestly don't know what she'll try next. More soon. About a week after the showdown, we got a letter in the mail. Not a text. Not an email. An actual old-school letter. It was from Barbara. She said she was deeply hurt by how Anna had spoken to her and that she only wanted the best for her grandchildren. But then it turned weird. She wrote that she was willing to take custody if we couldn't maintain a safe home environment. Her exact words. She even quoted stuff about child welfare codes and duty of care. I showed the letter to Anna. She read it in silence, then calmly said she's serious. 3 days later, CPS actually showed up at our door. 2 agents. Polite but firm. They said someone had submitted an anonymous report. They had to do a wellness check. I stayed calm. I showed them the house, the clean pantry, the kids' rooms, our school records, medical files, the emergency supplies. One of the agents, a woman named Lisa, actually complimented our setup. Honestly, she said, this is more prepared than most places I've seen. They left. No findings. But the damage was done. Our kids were confused. Our neighbors saw the car and started whispering. After that, Anna stopped talking much. She was always on edge. She started double-checking locks, unplugging things, walking from room to room late at night. One night, I found her in the basement at 2 a.m. just sitting there. I sat beside her and she finally said, we need to go bigger. I didn't get it at first. Then she laid out her idea. Turns out Barbara wasn't always like this. When Anna was younger, she remembered her mom having episodes. Strange behavior. Wild accusations. Conspiracy theories. Back then, it was blamed on stress or menopause or whatever excuse people made in the 90s. But now Anna started to wonder if something was seriously wrong. Mentally. She called Claire. Asked a lot of questions. That's when it all came out. Barbara had seen a therapist briefly last year. She quit after 2 sessions. Said they were trying to get inside her head. She'd also been hoarding food and supplies at home. Claire sent us pictures. Barbara had an entire room full of canned goods, gas masks, and newspapers from 10 years ago, all labeled by crisis type. She didn't think we were irresponsible. She thought everyone else was. Anna came up with a plan. If Barbara wanted to play this game, we'd make her play it in public. But legally, we weren't just going to wait for another anonymous report or another CPS visit. We reached out to an attorney who specializes in family harassment and false reporting. Turns out, filing a knowingly false CPS report can carry consequences, if you can prove it. So now we're gathering proof. Security footage, the letter, Claire's testimony, even the CPS visit log. We're not doing this to punish her. We're doing this because we're tired of living in fear of our own family. We're ready to take this to court if we have to. The next step is the big one. We're planning something strategic, a kind of exposure Barbara won't see coming. And before anyone asks, no, this isn't about revenge. This is about protecting our kids from someone who's crossed every line and might just do it again. After we hired the lawyer, we started building the case. Every phone call with Barbara was recorded. Every text saved. We backed up the security cam footage showing CPS at our door. Claire even found a voicemail Barbara left her where she bragged about calling CPS on us. That was our key. We also had proof of the letter Barbara sent, the hoard of supplies at her place, and even her old social media posts where she talked about keeping the kids safe from crazy preppers like her daughter and son-in-law. Our lawyer called it a pattern of delusion and harassment. We didn't tell Barbara we were taking her to court. Instead, we invited her to dinner. One last chance to come clean. Anna made roast chicken, mashed potatoes, and salad. Barbara showed up with her usual tight smile. She tried to act like everything was fine. Midway through the meal, Anna asked her straight up, "Did you call CPS on us?" Barbara looked right at her. "Of course not. I would never do that to my own daughter." I played the voicemail. She froze. Her fork hit the plate. Claire was sitting there too, pale and shaking. "You need help," Anna said. "This ends tonight." Barbara stood up. "You're making a mistake. I did this for your safety." "No," I said. "You did it to feel in control. And you crossed a line." A week later, our lawyer filed a restraining order and a civil complaint for harassment and false CPS reporting. We didn't want money. We wanted peace. But we knew Barbara wouldn't take this quietly. And she didn't. She tried to play the victim. She cried in court, told the judge we were turning the kids against her. She blamed the internet, our obsession with prepping, and even tried to call me unstable. But then our lawyer played the voicemail, read the letter, showed screenshots of her Reddit comments from a throwaway account where she called me a controlling freak who thinks he's a survival expert. The judge was calm, quiet. Then he ruled. Barbara was ordered to stay away from us and the kids for 1 year. Any further contact would result in criminal charges. The case was closed, and Barbara left that courtroom alone. We didn't celebrate. It didn't feel like a win, just relief. Claire moved in with us for a while. She needed space from Barbara too. We helped her find a new job in Boulder and a small apartment. She's doing better now, still healing. Anna started seeing a therapist. She said she needed to unpack her childhood, the years of manipulation, fear, control. I went too. Turns out, being the calm one for too long messes you up more than you think. Here's where I admit my mistake. I thought I could fix this by being logical, calm, prepared. I thought showing Barbara the basement would end it, but it didn't. It made her feel threatened, small, and instead of talking things out when it first got serious, I let pride take over. I underestimated her. And in trying to win, I nearly lost my wife to stress, nearly had our kids dragged into court, and pushed things so far that the only way out was legal war. So yeah, I messed up too. 1 month after the court ruling, Barbara's house went up for sale. Claire told us she was moving to Arizona to be near her cousin. Then 2 weeks later, we got a package in the mail. No return address. Inside was the same emergency preparedness kit she brought to our house the first time. Same old can of soup. Same broken flashlight. Same note, only now it read, "You win. I hope you're ready when it really happens." We tossed it in the trash. Not out of fear. Out of closure.